Typically, when a game updates, it's seen as a good thing. This is because the developers are changing something in the game, and you wouldn't expect them to do anything that hurts the game, since that would likely decrease their revenue. The problem is, the fans of the game aren't all going to have the same opinions. Because of this, sometimes developers will do something to please fans that have spoken up, but they don't realize that not everyone wants them to do that thing. Then all of a sudden, the developers are getting backlash from fans that weren't vocal before. Situations like these can happen anytime when a game is updated, but is by far the most common in the subject of today's video: balance change updates. In case you don't know, balance change updates typically change stats and the general usefulness of various things in the game by using buffs, which make something better, and nerfs, which make something worse. Honestly, I could make a whole video on why I think it's generally better to buff things than to nerf things, but that's something to look into at a later date. Anyway, when a game gets a balance change update, it's usually because things are either too powerful or not powerful enough, which is what they use those buffs and nerfs on. Now, it sounds like a good thing on paper, but of course, there are many problems it can unintentionally cause. One of those problems is that people who worked on, for let's say, a very expensive item or rare item will be unhappy if that item gets nerfed, since they will feel as if all the work they did to get that item was for nothing. Another problem balance changes can cause is that people like me, who like to know the stats of practically everything in a game, will be confused since they would have to remember all these new changes. This is partially why I have been able to memorize so much information about Fantastic Frontier. As much as I wish they would update Fantastic Frontier, at least I don't have to keep changing the information in my mind. That, of course, wouldn't be a huge deal, but it would be annoying nevertheless. Another problem that balance change updates can bring about that I want to talk about. I don't even remember what I just said. Anyway, a problem I want to talk about is how it shows that the developers either aren't confident enough in the balance of their own game, or they didn't put enough effort into balancing everything before it was added to the game. This really shows in a pretty big tower defense game called Bloons Tower Defense 6. Now, I love BTD 6, but in all of their pretty common updates, they changed the balance of tons of random things for seemingly no reason. I feel as if everything currently in the game is about as balanced as you're ever going to get, but they keep finding new ways to rebalance the game. I think they might be changing the balance purposely to in turn change the meta of the game as much as possible, so you have to keep up with all the updates. If you want to be on some leaderboard somewhere, which, by the way, they have a ton of leaderboards in that game. The real problem for BTD6 balance changes isn't that it's angering the community, since the changes are so tiny, but it's ruining many community-made challenges in the game. You see, in BTD6, you can make a challenge where you assign the player certain towers, upgrades for those towers, money, and the rounds they have to survive. Personally, I think it's a great concept because you need to be able to beat your own challenge to publish it. So, you need to be a good player to make a hard challenge. The problem arises when these super hard challenges are made impossible due to a balance change. For example, let's say you made a challenge where you can only place one tower and you have to find the right tower with the right upgrades to survive. Now, imagine that that tower gets nerfed and all of a sudden it can't keep you alive, so the challenge is impossible and you have to change it. In the end, I think the balance changes aren't always bad, but I do think that they should be done significantly less than they currently are. Generally, they cause more problems than they fix. Well, thanks for watching to the end, and if you have a different opinion on balance change updates, I guess you could comment them in the comment section that's down below. Yeah. Oh, also, if you don't like and subscribe, then a spiker will be in your bed tonight. Oh man, I wouldn't risk it.